This is the Resilient Advisor Show with Jay Coulter.
Jay Coulter here with the Resilient Advisor Show. This is the most unique broadcast that I have ever done. I'm here with my good friend, David Ortiz, who has a very, very unique value proposition for his clients. He's one of the best marketers in the business. He's been featured on Michael Kitz's podcast. He's mentioned in Robert Sophia's book. And as you will learn, he has a unique approach to investing, planning, and most importantly, marketing. David, thanks for jumping on a live stream.
Thank you, Jake. Great to see you.
All right, so I'm not in my studio, as you can tell. I've been down here in South Florida for the Exchange ETF conference all week. David lives down here. He came and picked me up in what I think makes him so unique as a financial advisor. David, I'm going to let you take everybody on a tour before we get started. But first, tell them, what are we taking a tour of?
Well, this is my mobile office. It's a Sprinter van, Mercedes Sprinter van that is basically decked out, and inside here is where I conduct all my meetings.
Inside the Sprinter van, he cooks food for his clients and his prospects. They break bread and they talk about their finances. Now, your brand is the Financial Chef. How did you come up with that?
Well, so the way that I describe my business is that I'm a classically trained chef from the Culinary Institute of America and a certified financial planner. And I operate out of a mobile office with a kitchen in it. And when I meet with my clients, I roll up to their location, they hop in, and along with our financial meeting, I serve them a gourmet meal that I've prepared for them. So I am a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America in upstate New York back in 1982. And I have also I was a software developer and ran nightclubs and developed software for restaurants, and just kind of fell into finance because the software company I was working for went out of business and I needed a job, and I answered one of these blind ads for a life insurance company, and it sounded fantastic. And that was in 1996. And I had a portable an espresso machine, and I would bake biscottis or scones, and I go to my client's location and I set up and we'd talk about the world over a latte. And I suddenly realized that our conversations changed when they knew about my food background, my culinary background. And then what I started doing is, as I bring clients on board, I would do a dinner party at their home for them and 4 or 5 couples, and not talking about me and business, and but invariably all their guests want to know, who's that guy running around that you're so friendly with? And they go, well, that's my advisor. And they're all like, what? And so that that's kind of how it started out. And then I would donate dinners for silent auctions to charities, where I would go to somebody's home and do a dinner for 8 or 10 people. And then honestly, Jay, one day in the shower, the name Financial Chef came to me, the whole idea of combining it. And I scream out to my wife, and she thought I fell and cracked my head. And I'm like, I got it. And it was the idea of the Financial Chef. And so what we did was we took a restaurant in Coral Gables that had gone out of business, and we remodeled it, and we kept the commercial kitchen in the back, and we did an office in the front, and we started doing meals as the Financial Chef, just for clients, no money exchange. That's how we did business. So I had an opportunity to have a meal with somebody 6 or 7 times a day: breakfast at 7, a coffee at 10, an early lunch, a late lunch, a coffee in the afternoon, happy hour, and a dinner. And so that's how we did business. And then we did very well that way. But the problem became that Miami, like most major cities like Atlanta, if you're not in a comfortable driving distance, you're not going to do business with that person. And Miami being so spread out. So then the idea came for me to take it mobile. And that's what we have here. And so this is actually a Regency RV. It's built on the Sprinter chassis. Do you want to spin the camera around?
So let's take everybody on a tour. This is really, really cool. If you're watching live and you have any questions, just post a comment. We'll be able to get it through the virtual studio. Lisa, I appreciate you tuning in. Lisa, who runs the Advisor 2X program. They just wrapped up their very successful retirement and longevity conference out in San Diego. Thanks for watching, Lisa. Let's go on a tour.
Okay.
All right, where would you like to start? And this is going to be a little clunky because I'm going to be moving the camera around.
Okay, so come on this way, coming out. So as somebody, kind of comes in the door here. So as we come in, and we have a little couch over here and a place for the eating, and then I do my presentation. I have this beautiful presentation screen that's over here, and then little kitchen area, and make a meal, and my clients sit here on the couch, and we can have a nice comfortable conversation. We can be anywhere and having a meeting. As a matter of fact, as you just learned, here we are, you came to Miami, and we're sitting in Little Havana on a street corner right on A Street, known as Calle Ocho, and we're having our little meeting, and I treated you to a Cuban sandwich and a Cuban steak sandwich, and we're having a great time right here.
Tell them about the bed.
Oh, so we have, this is a Murphy bed. So the couch slides down, and then the Murphy bed pops up. This has a slide out, so we have all this room in here, and this is how I meet with my clients. And it's just a wonderful way. Clients, they really love it. It allows me to be super efficient. I just roll up to their location, they hop in, we do our meeting, I go off to the next one, and and that's how we roll.
Awesome. All right. Now, if that isn't one of the coolest things you've seen in the industry, I don't really know what would be. To show up to your client's house, be able to cook food as a world-class chef, it's just a different value proposition. Now that you've seen the rig, David, let's talk a little bit about your practice. So the folks that typically tune into this How I Serve series, they like to hear how advisors work with their clients. So let's start at the operational level. What technologies are you using today?
You know me well. Is that a loaded question?
It is a loaded question.
I think I could win the competition for the largest tech stack by any advisor.
Without a doubt. I can verify that.
Yes. So, basically I have used technology because of my software development background as a way to be as efficient as possible and to keep headcount down. If we can accomplish things by a monthly subscription, we really try to do that. As you know, I'm a CFP, I'm a RICP, and I'm also an enrolled agent. So we are, like everyone in this day, probably focusing on retirement income planning. We take a very strong tax approach. So we use, all the big ones out there, Michael Kitchis.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay. So I use the Michael Kitchis roadmap. I've learned so much, his whole new system of what he's done is absolutely amazing. So we use Holistaplan. We use Right Capital. We use, a bunch of things. We use.
So actually, let's talk about Holistaplan and how you use it. Because Holistaplan is a newer player in the space. I've seen a lot of advisor clients start to adapt it to their practice. How do you use it?
So now that I am an enrolled agent, I do taxes for selected clients, and the way that we're using it is we take the tax return data that I've prepared now and put it into Holistaplan, and we have these conversations about what ifs, and we do that early in the year to make sure that we have 3/4 of a year to be able to make any kind of adjustments. And you don't need to be an enrolled agent to do that. You can just take the tax return that you get from the client and upload it, and then create a scenario and start working with it. I'm a big proponent of the bucket planning system, bucket planning segmentation, doing income-based plans. So we have a lot of technology around that. And, we make the moves of any kind of planning based on what we see in Holistaplan and what kind of tax effects. So we look at everything and evaluate the tax impact of any kind of a move that we might make.
So if you're not familiar with how Holistaplan works, you literally upload the tax return, and 60 seconds later, it spits back an analysis that you can use with clients. David, before we move on, I do have another question. This one is from Lisa Allen, and she wants to know, do you only meet with clients this way, or do you have an office as well?
I don't have an office. So this is the face to the clients.
Yeah. So
I work out of my home office where I do my work, but I don't have an office.
Do you find that once a client has this experience here, they're more interested in coming in and um, this is the problem with live television. Do you find that they always want to meet here, or do they make the pivot to virtual?
It's, I think there's, it depends on the level of technology sophistication a client may have. I have older clients who are very tech savvy. They don't want to get meet in person. And then I have other people who, they got to see you in person. So, but I do think, like everybody's realized, that during the pandemic, clients have realized, oh, maybe I don't have to go there.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yes, Kelly Biggs tuning in, one of the industry's best internet marketers. All right, so let's talk about the next leg in the tech stack, your Right Capital. So I'm a big fan of Right Capital for most advisors and most practices. Why do you use it?
So I use it because, as you know, based on things that I learned from Michael Kitchis, was creating subscription-based financial planning. And I do that for, let's say, millennial couples. And we charge a subscription fee based on income rather than on AUM assets, because they generally wouldn't have them. Our market there are professional couples who are 30s to 40s. They're making really good money. They're 300 to 700,000 combined income, but they haven't had any accumulation. And so we use Right Capital as kind of the tool to show goals-based planning and different types of scenarios. It also has a nice tax engine, nothing as robust as Holistiplan. And what I find about Right Capital is that it's just very flexible and doesn't have a lot of bloat in the software itself.
Well, I want to give a shout out to John Rett for tuning in, one of the industry's top consultants. And he says, great concept. This is somebody who has seen a lot of advisory practices. And it really speaks to how unique your value proposition is here. Another piece of technology that you use that I'm a big fan of is Snappy Kraken. How do you implement that into your practice?
What I love about Snappy Kraken is just the genuine thoughtfulness of how Robert Sophia's group creates content. To me, it's like no other content that you can get out there. And it's all done with eliciting personal emotions and responses from people reading it. I get so many just quick emails back. Hey, thanks for sending this. I really enjoy reading this stuff. And it's nothing salesy. And so we just are using it to continue to touch people and put them in our list. And when I meet somebody new, I send an email first and say, hey, it was great to meet you. I'd like to I'm adding you to my email list. You can always opt out. We send really cool content, nothing salesy. And I take that step just to be thoughtful and not to be known as a spammer. And then we put them into the campaigns, and then they go into our whole Snappy Kraken groups.
And they're more than just email. If you have a wide social media presence, you can run campaigns. They have native ready postings, and it's really a turnkey package that you can have your team
Yes. No, I don't want to. It's much more than email. And I mean, it's multiple touches and in different channels. So your people are seeing the message on LinkedIn and Facebook, in Twitter, and you just launch the campaign, make sure your list is connected to it, your different groups, and it just works. I even forget that things are going out because they have a 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 segment piece segment, and a client or somebody will send me something back, and I didn't even know which one they were talking about, and it was like, oh. And it's that's just kind of all working there in the background. And it's just talking points, and people tell me that they really, when my clients see me, that they like it a lot.
So tell viewers what you do for your investment solution for those clients that are hiring you and engaging you for AUM.
So I was trained by Tom Dorsey at Dorsey Wright. And so I do have a background in tactical management, and I believe very much in downside protection and risk management. But I found out that that's not really what I'd like to do, to be the technician. So on the Schwab platform, we are using the SmartX TAMP program. And what that allows me to do is to take all these phenomenal managers and strategies that are available through SmartX on Schwab, and I think they're on Fidelity and Interactive Brokers and Pershing and different ones, and put them together as sleeves. And the way I describe that to my clients is that I talk about it in my culinary senses as well. And I say, SmartX is like going to Whole Foods Market. SmartX is Whole Foods. There's so much stuff there. I can't eat it all. It's not all good for me, but it's all there, and things will change. And I go up and down the aisles all the time. I'm always in SmartX's aisles looking at what's the new product delivery, and I find the best managers that I like. And so then I buy those, if you will, and I put them in my pantry. And then when I meet with you, Jay, I kind of find out, your tastes. And now I take those ingredients and I put them into a meal, different sleeves, and that's what I do for you. And it's been phenomenal for me because I have access to world-class strategies and can build allocations for any situation. And because, as I said, we use this bucket planning segmentation, we have a different allocation and different managers depending on what segment and what bucket we're talking about.
All right, let's go back to the enrolled agent status that you have. You recently acquired that, and how are you going to use it inside of your practice?
So I am going to use it really to benefit my clients by the knowledge that I've gotten in going through it, which was very hard. But it really allows me to focus on their situation in a different way now, because as I understand all the mechanics of the tax system and what works and phase outs and so forth, as we're talking, it's a whole new conversation. And, the thing that I have learned and where I really have moved, and what I would suggest is understand taxes and what's taxes, because that's what our clients and prospects, they're all worried about and they're all hearing. And so, the days of just being an investment person, I think are slim. I think those are the advisors who are not going to make it going forward.
Yeah, you brought up Michael Kitces earlier down here for the Exchange ETF conference. He was one of the closing speakers, and he gave a whole presentation on that, where the value proposition has to evolve, and you have to be able to show that you're doing more than just asset allocations and helping people answer questions about their financial statement. So why don't we wrap up with this? And this is the reason I think if you're a financial advisor, you should follow David Ortiz and the work that he's doing. He has been in Miami for a long, long time. Didn't need a map driving us through Little Havana today to go find this shop. He knows this town like the back of his hand, and he is moving to the other side of the state to go and build a footprint over there. And as one of the best marketers in the business, I think it'd be worthwhile for advisors to keep their eyes on what you do. What is your go-to-market strategy for the other side of the state?
So one of the reasons we're moving is that Miami has just become way too busy here. And it's very difficult for me to operate my mobile office through the streets of Miami. And I mean, as you saw, as I picked you up in the hotel in Miami Beach, it's 20 minutes just to go down 41st Street to get to the expressway. And you can't park. And so where we're moving to is a suburb of Sarasota called Lakewood Ranch. It's now considered to be the #1 multi-generational community in the country. And they're building 18 different communities there. 2 of them are 55 plus communities where I'm moving into. And we're going to build a local presence, being local resources in the community, helping out schools and different organizations, and being more of kind of a hometown advisor, because that can't be done here in Miami anymore. It's just way too crowded. And so the idea is really that it will be, we'll do a lot of workshops in person. I've created, as you know, food and finance workshops, interactive, where I teach a cooking class and do a finance workshop at the same time, and then we eat the food that we've collectively cooked at the end. And to do events like that and become a local presence and in the community there.
David Ortiz is literally the most interesting advisor in the industry. I appreciate you doing this impromptu with me here. I know it's a lot of value for the people who are watching. Make sure you keep your eye on David and how he grows this new market. So David, thank you so much for coming on.